all they had to do was shut up. Shut up and do nothing. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were probably going to get their best news cycle in years, because we know deep down they want to bring down the British royal family. Instead, in the midst of the biggest royal crisis in a century, these two grifters and fake have decided this is the moment to embark on a new fake royal tour, this time of the Middle East, where she's literally trying to claim she's the queen of the desert in Jordan. I've got so much to say about this, by the way, because Jordan, I'm sure you know, is also one of the happy places for Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, where she grew up. And Meghan is just cosplaying Diana here in a cringe and creepy way. The clear sort of messaging coming from Montecito is, we're the future. We're now going to be the real royals. But actually, all of us are looking at this like, what the hell? You have just involved yourself in the biggest geopolitical dispute in the world, which you know divides everyone, and you're doing it without a second thought for the way that this is going to impact the British monarchy. So we're going to get into all of this today, according to Taz, royal YouTube sensation, with me too, for her brilliant analysis. But let's just go through what has happened so far since they touched down in Jordan and visited a specialty hospital in Amman, where Meghan, very much in Diana mode, Diana wannabe mode, held hands with a 14-year-old Gaza refugee burns victim and talked to doctors. They also watched a music class at the Quest Scope Youth Centre at the Zatari refugee camp near Mafraq and took part in a football discussion. Then things get really bad because they're teaming up with Dr. Tedros. Now, Dr. Tedros, bloke who ran the World Health Organization during COVID, one of the worst people in the world, okay? Like, this is not the win that Prince Harry and Meghan think it is, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, let's just watch day one of Meghan pretending to be Princess Diana and Prince Harry thinking he's the one to save the royal family on this fake royal tour.
Violin, for example, versus the keyboard, how do you know which one is the right fit?
طلاب الفئات بيقدروا يعبروا عن مشاعرهم، بيقدروا يكتشفوا ذواتهم بشكل افضل.
It's a better choice, especially for mental health. Everybody else is as well. Yeah, so it's gypsum, like cement.
And that's the one thing I would like to also highlight. It's not just that they're hospitable to people who are fleeing conflict in their own home, is that despite this, and despite the pressure that creates on the healthcare system.
I mean, Harry still looks miserable, of course. But the bizarre thing about Dr. Tedros is that he is the head of the World Health Organization and is a wrong'un, a total wrong'un, completely corrupted, totally globalist. And the fact that they have had to rely on him to make this visit happen says a huge amount. Now, in their briefing to the mainstream media, which we'll get to shortly, Harry and Meghan insisted that they had informed Buckingham Palace of their visit. Oh, big hug from Dr. Tedros. God, these two are completely delusional. They have no idea what they're doing here. They have no idea that Dr. Tedros would have to be so desperate to want them there. And of course, this did overshadow Charles, who you know I have been critical of for not being seen for some time in the hours after Andrew's arrest. But they were out, Charles and Camilla were out at St. James's Palace yesterday, delivering awards. And of course, Charles not looking well at all. Now, I'm going to get into just a moment why Harry and Meghan claim, oh, they're not taking sides in the whole Israel-Palestine thing. Bullshit. But first, let me bring in, according to Taz, I mean, Tash, already this visit is awful on so many levels. But before we get to the micro, can we just talk about the macro here? They just needed to do nothing. Like, this was the moment for Harry and Meghan to do nothing. Because remember, Tash, what they want is the royal family to fall, and so that they can come in and sort of sweep in as white knights. Just do nothing. Say nothing. This is madness. They have no idea.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are once again making headlines, this time following their recent visit connected to engagements in the Middle East. Some critics online have described the trip as resembling a royal-style tour, sparking debate about branding, optics, and how the Sussexes position themselves internationally. However, it's important to note that they are no longer working members of the royal family, and there has been no official confirmation that this was presented as an official royal tour. So what exactly happened during the Jordan visit, and why has it triggered such a strong reaction from royal commentators? We're joined by royal YouTube commentator, according to Taz, to break down the optics, the messaging, and the potential implications for the wider royal family. Does this create fresh tension with King Charles? Or is this simply...
They have picked an opportunity. They saw an opportunity. Meghan is always calculating. Every appearance is always calculated. Yes, they could have stayed quiet, but that's not their MO. Of course, they're not going to stay quiet. They saw an opportunity that the royals are being talked about, that everybody's talking about the royals at the moment. Unfortunately, some of it is obviously negative due to Andrew and that fallout, but it's the perfect opportunity. Harry and Meghan don't tend to pop up unless they are taking advantage of the situation here. They wanted their name in the headlines. And then to come across looking compassionate. When was the last time we saw them do the humanitarian trip? It was what they did the Archie and Lilibet, didn't they, at that food place in LA. And that was only because they wanted to use that moment to introduce Archwell Philanthropies, because the other place that they were running basically went under. And now this trying to come across like they actually care about other people. You can just see Meghan in every frame, in every photograph, positioning herself, checking where the camera is, checking has she got her right angle. Her brain is just constantly processing, is she in shot? Is this the best shot? And Harry just doesn't look like he's processing anything. He looks utterly miserable, completely checked out.
I know. Now look, Tom Sykes, I think he must have had a tip-off about this visit because he was the first to break the news overnight, as then all of the pro-Harry and Meghan outlets were briefed, right? Tash, like Town and Country, People magazine, and they all included the same briefing. But it was only Tom Sykes of The Royalist who I think really understood why this is such a political hot potato and a total nightmare for the British royal family that Harry and Meghan are even thinking about going here. So, as he put it, this visit will take them directly into the fraught politics of Gaza and the Middle East. He said it's the kind of highly political trip they could not easily have undertaken as working members of the royal family. Now, they are going to spend all day today and all day tomorrow on this visit, including, as they have already done, meeting these children and families displaced by the Gaza conflict. The focus on Gaza's displaced people gives the trip a highly political element. They know it, of course, and it has forced them to preemptively state that they were not taking sides in one of the most polarizing conflicts in the world. But they are. They simply are. Now, he then points out that they are in Jordan at the invitation of the World Health Organization's Director General, Dr. Tedros. Their office officially described it as a 2-day program that will focus on humanitarian health response, mental health, and support for vulnerable communities affected by conflict and displacement. Tom Sykes says on paper it is a working humanitarian visit. In reality, it looks and feels very much like the faux royal tours they have been criticized for in the past. And of course, there hasn't been one for 18 months because the faux royal tours of Colombia and Nigeria are actually massively backfired. Now, Tom Sykes goes on to say that they will also visit the regional headquarters of World Central Kitchen in Amman, from where the charity coordinates food and humanitarian assistance into Gaza. They will meet Dr. Essam Dood, the founder of Humanitarian Crew, a mental health organisation specialising in conflict and crisis settings. Harry also met that bloke during the filming of his documentary, The Me You Can't See. But Tom Sykes is right, and this is why I like him, because he's not totally drinking the Sussex Kool-Aid here. Because he says, for all of the emphasis on health and humanitarianism, this trip is unavoidably political. By centering their visit on Gaza's displaced children and on the regional response to the war, Harry and Meghan are stepping firmly into territory that the palace has traditionally steered royals away from, precisely because of the risk of being seen as taking sides in international conflicts. They have already found themselves having to answer the question directly, does this mean they are pro-Palestine and anti-Israel? And what's interesting here is that Tom Sykes then admits that there is a Q&A that has been circulated to the media by Team Sussex. And that's why we're seeing all of the similar briefing appear in an almost identical manner in People in Town and Country, in all of the pro-Harry and Meghan propagandist sheets. And their answer is this: no, they are pro-family. Could have fooled me. Ask Thomas Markle about that. Pro-children. Don't know if Archie and Lily would agree. And pro-peace and decency. Well, they certainly don't want peace in the United Kingdom, do they? And none of their behaviour has ever been decent when it comes to the British people or the British royal family. But this cheat sheet Q&A from Team Sussex went on to say their continued humanitarian work has reflected this on a global, non-partisan, non-politicised level. Tom Sykes says that may not satisfy everyone because the same document stresses that their philanthropic work has supported both Israelis and Palestinians since the October 7th attacks. The Sussex document reads, their philanthropic organisation funded relief efforts to support children and families after the attack in Israel on October the 7th, and has also supported relief efforts for family and children in Gaza. The couple are pro-family and pro-children, and their philanthropic work reflects this value and deep-rooted care for humanity. The Q&A makes clear that the Sussex is not representing the British state, but there will inevitably be comparisons with the kind of official overseas tours carried out by Prince William and neighbouring Saudi Arabia last week. On this occasion, palace officials were told as a courtesy that the couple would be going to Jordan. In the past, that has not always happened. The last time Harry undertook a high-profile overseas engagement, travelling to Canada on the same day as William was fronting his Earthshot Prize Awards in Brazil, the timing caused major irritation inside William's camp. The events landed at exactly the same moment in the news cycle, and William's team felt that Harry was deliberately pulling focus. So, Tash, a lot to pick up on there, but firstly, how hilarious that Team Sussex, still with a straight face, pushed this idea that these two are pro-family, pro-children, pro-peace, and pro-decency. Ask Thomas Markle, ask Prince William, ask Queen Camilla, ask King Charles. It's laughable. They are delusional. There's no matching up. There's no connection, Tash, between their personal lives and what they see as their professional lives.
No, I mean, it's almost like they live in an alternate reality. They're famous, they're infamous for the destruction that they caused to the royal family, the biggest destruction, I guess, that happened, or at least tried to happen to them since the abdication. And we know the problem was that they lied. So much of what they did was lies, and so much of what they did had monetary gain out of it. They did it for financial reasons, and they've continued to do that with Netflix and Harry's book Spare. But this is the thing, if they really cared about people, they had the perfect opportunity staying part of the royal family. They wouldn't have to worry about paying bills, and they could have spent their time working on projects and working with people and making a real difference and a real change in the world. They would have had access to the best organizations, the best people, anybody that could have come together. We've seen the amazing initiatives and projects that both the Prince and Princess of Wales have been involved with. We've seen the work that the Duchess of Edinburgh is doing currently. She's on her own tour. She's just arrived in Kenya. She was in Somalia. This is a woman that actually actively campaigns for women and girls' rights, gives women and young girls a voice that do not have them in countries where women, if they speak out, it can end in death. These are people that genuinely care and compassionately care about other people. Harry and Meghan said they didn't want to live like royals, but now they're okay doing it when they're being paid for it. That's mercenary. That's not compassion. That's not kindness. It's not showing up and doing good in the world. They want to be paid to do it. They want a pat on the back every time they so much as give someone a small donation. They announce when they go and do something, even small, charitable. I mean, we got an announcement because they gave someone a $25 Starbucks card. It made it into the papers. The fact that it was People magazine that gave the announcement that they were going, their favored magazine, their outlet that they speak to all the time. It's obvious that they are going out there for their own selfish reasons. They are going out there to go on a promotional tour. They are taking advantage of the fact the royal family are having a bit of a rough time at the moment. And like you said, Meghan doing the Diana thing, holding the girl's hand as she's in bed. It's so fake because we've seen the real Meghan. We've seen the way she treats her father. Harry stood there in one of the photographs holding a prosthetic leg. I find that a bit distasteful given the fact that Thomas Markle's due to be fitted for one himself, and those two don't even think about him. You cannot treat your family the way that they do and then try and convince the world that you care about anybody or anything other than yourself.